Hi, this is Chris Ruisi, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Mind Jolt. Today I want to start out with a question, especially for you business owners who have employees. And the question is simple: who hired them? I have many clients who always tell me, my employees, Chris, they just don't know what to do. They don't do anything the right way. I've had some tell me, Chris, all of my employees are stupid and none of them are as smart as me. So I ask, well, who hired them? Did they show up on your doorstep on a dark, rainy, windy, cold night and you brought them in? No, you hired them and you hired your problem and you have to live with it. But if you're going to have a successful business, you have to determine the correct way to bring people into your organization. So I want to give you several steps today that you need to consider when hiring people. Now, the first step is to ask yourself, do I really need to fill the position that became vacant? Is it a different position? Should I capitalize on some opportunities to combine positions? Or maybe you don't need to fill the position at all. The second step is to create a good and accurate description of the job you want to fill. Now, I'm not talking about a traditional job description, those 4-page monsters that nobody ever reads. What I'm talking about is no more than a page, and it starts off with a 3 to 5 sentence paragraph that captures the essence of the job, what the person does, how they will contribute to your company, how they will create value for your company. And then and there can't be more than 10 key tasks that will be incorporated into that position. Now, number 3 is to develop 3 separate goals. You know, when we hire people, we get their resume or application, and we ask them questions about what they did. But we're hiring them to do something for you which may be different from what they did. So what I suggest to folks is they establish a 30, a 60, and a 90-day goal that this new employee must achieve within those time frames from the point in time that they start with your company. So this way you can ask questions and evaluate what they can do. And you want to evaluate that along the lines of comparing it to your 30, 60, and 90-day goals. Now, the fourth one is to develop the right questions to measure that candidate's suitability for your position. Now, I know this is going to affect some of you when I say this. Some of you think about your questions 30 seconds before you sit down with your applicant and see their application or resume for the first time. If you're doing that, here's my technical suggestion. Stop it. Stop it right away. You're hiring people into your company, you're paying money, and you're going to let a complete stranger interact with your customers who, by the way, pay you money to work with your business. So develop the right questions so that you can evaluate the candidate and not hire the wrong person. Next is to develop how you will evaluate that candidate. It might be a rating form. Maybe it's a single interview with you. Maybe it's several interviews with others on your team. Or maybe it's a group interview. Don't try to make this up on the fly. Plan it out in advance based upon the position and the needs that you want that position to fill. Next, use an appropriate assessment tool. So what's an assessment tool? Most of them can be done online, and they allow you to assess, not test, assess the candidate based upon the position you are looking to hire them into. And many tools, in fact, the one that I use, sends you back additional questions to ask that candidate to help you make the right hiring decision. And finally, if you can get them, we want to get reference checks. But we all know today that reference checks are very difficult to get, and the ones that you eventually do get are not very helpful. Look, when you hire people, you're actually dealing with risk. You start out with a wide variance of risk when a position opens up, and your job, following the steps that I mentioned, is to reduce that risk to an acceptable level so that you can make the right decision to hire the right person. So my final little bit of advice is 2 things. 1, hire slow but fire fast. Take your time when you're hiring people. Don't try to wing it. You wouldn't wing it if you were trying to find stocks to buy to build your financial security in your portfolio. It's the same with your team members. Hire slow. Do your due diligence. And then the second piece of advice is fail your failures fast. If you realize you have hired the wrong person, deal with it right away, because keeping them around any longer than they need to be isn't fair to them, It's not fair to you or your business or your customers, and it's definitely not fair to your other employees who are picking up the slack for a person who's not doing their job. Well, that's it for this week. We'll see you again.